Hey, it's John Clark, licensed therapist and business coach at privatepracticeworkshop.com, helping you build a better business without all the overwhelm. If it's your first time here, welcome to the channel. If not, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to be answering a very common question that I get a lot, and that is, should I start an insurance-based practice or a private pay practice? Let's dive in. First thing I want to say before I dive into the pros and cons of each is that there's not a perfect answer for everybody, so I can't just answer this question of like, yep, go do this or go do that. This question is so nuanced and really has a lot to do with your situation, your market, your mission, vision, and values, who you're serving, all sorts of things. So I'm going to try to break this down as best I can in this video. The way I'm going to do that is just by breaking down the pros and cons of each. Let's start and get this one out of the way. Let's talk about the cons of insurance. So for me, the biggest one when you're accepting insurance in your practice is you're often going to get what I consider below market rates. So I just really don't like when insurance companies are setting my rates. It doesn't make sense to me that professions like my dentist for a 30-minute checkup is getting reimbursed $300, $400, $500 for that appointment, whereas in therapy, for me doing 45 or 50 minutes of therapy, the reimbursement is as low as $60 or maybe as high as like $95, maybe even $110 at best. I haven't really heard of insurance companies reimbursing more than say $110, $111. And for most practices, even in areas that are not metropolitan, that's just not enough to create a very profitable business, to make at least $100,000 a year or more. It's just usually not enough. Number two, it's often hard to actually get off panels. So sometimes therapists will get on them in desperation or because they don't have a good marketing plan, and it can be hard to get off them, right? Those insurance companies often have something like a cooling off period, almost like if you're getting divorced or something, where even if you say, hey, I'm getting off this panel, they say, well, you can't be off until 90 days or something like that. So then let's say for those 90 days, you still have to be in network. And so when you're seeing clients, you can't just do cash pay overnight. Same thing applies, and this has happened to me before as a group practice owner, where a clinician at an insurance-based practice joins my practice, but they have to keep accepting insurance for a period. Otherwise, we could be in a really bad situation where, let's say we saw a client and they paid us directly, but then we realized they have Blue Cross Blue Shield or something like that, and my clinician is paneled with them still from the group practice, then all of a sudden I've got to pay all sorts of money back to the insurance company. So you just have to know kind of what these arrangements look like. You have to read the fine print when you're getting paneled with these insurance companies. Number three, a next con for this in my eyes is confidentiality, right? So when I'm filing for insurance, or if I were accepting insurance in my practice, I do have to usually provide things like a diagnosis code for that client. That means that diagnosis code is potentially sticking with them for the rest of their life in their medical records. I think this can be overly pathologizing, overly stigmatizing, and I just don't like the feeling of giving someone a diagnosis unless it's really helpful to their treatment or unlocking further treatment options for them. I also don't really like the idea of having to submit any additional information about the client in our sessions or what was said or what happened to the insurance companies. But again, this is just my perspective. All right, the fourth con that I have for this category in accepting insurance is delays in getting paid, or what's called accounts receivable. Now, hopefully if you have a good biller, you're on top of it, you're using a good EHR, then you're not having these major delays, but certainly you can. So let's say you see 20 clients this week, but it's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, who knows, till you get paid. I don't know what that amount is going to be, but I've heard bad stories. I've worked with some therapists who had major accounts receivable, big amounts that were still owed to them, and yet, especially for a group practice owner, guess what? You've still got to pay that employee for seeing that client. You can't just say, oh, didn't get the money, so I'm just not going to pay you. Usually it's going to be on the business to pay that out, even if the business hasn't been paid for those sessions yet. Okay, next, the pros of taking insurance. Number one, I think that the biggest pro is that you're often going to have built-in clients, right? So you're going to be able to serve more people right off the bat. A lot of people are looking to stay in network, especially in more rural parts of the country, I think. And so sometimes it can be a real benefit to get on a major panel in your area, be included in that providers list, and your phone might start ringing. However, I really have to caution against this because I've seen this go wrong a lot of times, and I really want you to know that getting on an insurance panel is not a substitute for good marketing and having a marketing plan and executing on that. If you can't tell, I feel really strongly about that point. We help people set up and execute a really strong marketing plan in our Fully Booked program. That's our proven 5-step system for helping therapists get clients consistently. So if you're interested in that, head to privatepracticeworkshop.com and click on the free training to learn more about Fully Booked. So the second benefit that I see of accepting insurance is payments are usually guaranteed, right? There could be a delay, right? But as long as you're paneled, you're submitting appropriately, you know how the claims process works, then that money is usually going to come to you from the insurance company. Whereas sometimes in a private pay situation, if you don't collect the session fee right away from the client, or let's say, yeah, you can pay me at the end of the month, but then the client drops off the face face of the earth, it's really hard to get that money back. It's really hard to chase them down. All right, number 3, I would say that another huge pro of accepting insurance would be the ability to, again, serve a diverse group of people or serve lots of different people. What I mean by this is just, again, from a socioeconomic standpoint, you're going to be able to serve people that both, let's say, have means and they have insurance, and also people who don't have means, but maybe they have insurance. I think this is a real big win in certain situations, right? Because I do believe personally that all people deserve access to good quality therapy, and sometimes the best therapists are the ones that are totally cash pay, and I understand that this can be out of reach for a lot of people. That being said, as a side note, when I teach how to build a cash pay practice, I teach having, high sustainable fees based on your income goals, and also, if you want, having some sliding scale programming in your practice so that you can find a way to also give back and serve people from different socioeconomic backgrounds. Again, ultimately, you've got to figure out what works for you. All right, let's get into the cash pay side or the private pay side. Now, for a lot of therapists, this is kind of the coveted practice, right? It's a practice where you don't have to deal with insurance at all. You don't have to file claims, do paperwork, wait long periods to hear back, right? It's just a cleaner business to run a cash pay practice. You sign the client up through EHR, they add a credit card, the session happens, and then boom, the money is processed, the card is charged, and that fee has happened. Maybe after every few sessions, you give the client a super bill, or the super bill is generated automatically through the EHR, and boom, it's a very clean business. That's a big part of what I like about it. Anyway, I'm getting carried away. You can already see where my bias is here, but let's talk about some of the cons of cash pay. Number 1, it's expensive a lot of times, so you've got to overcome some objection hurdles. Again, especially if you're in a market where not everyone is cash pay. Let's say most therapists are accepting insurance, but you want to be cash pay. It can be tricky, right? Because let's say you get on the phone with a client, you talk them through your consult process, it's going really well, and they're like, yeah, I want to work with you. Great. Well, my fee is X. I'm not an in-network provider with any insurances, but I provide a super bill. And then the client may say, hey, wait, what? I thought everyone accepted insurance. Or again, my dentist accepts my insurance, so why would I pay out of pocket? So you got to learn to deal with these objections, but there's a way to do it. Number 2, another con I see, again, going back to the kind of social justice lens, is it's going to skew your practice usually to people that have means, right? So you might just be seeing a lot of clients who have means or are working professionals or are high income earners. For me, this personally doesn't totally appeal to me, right? I just think it's important for me to see people of different income levels and again, to be able to serve a more diverse group of people. But again, you got to figure this out for yourself. It all depends on your values. Number 3, and I hate to even include this one, but sometimes being cash pay or even being cash pay and having higher than normal fees in your area means other therapists might judge you. I think this is a big reason why a lot of therapists don't do it or they don't talk about it too much, because they fear the judgment from other therapists. And let's face it, therapists can be really judgmental for whatever reason, right? So people might think or talk about you, comment in a Facebook group and like, hey, what gives you the right to charge private pay, or you should accept insurance, or whatever it is. So again, hopefully this doesn't happen to you, but I think it could, and it's something to look out for. Best thing to do here is just ignore it, right? Just ignore it. See it as projection on their part. It could even be jealousy, etc., and just try to ignore it, and don't let other therapists impact your business and life decisions. Finally, okay, I've been waiting for this the whole video, the pros of cash pay. Let's get into it. The first pro is, clients can often get reimbursed, at least partially reimbursed, for their fees. So let's say you charge $250, but once they've hit their deductible, their PPO pays for 60% of that fee. So a $250 isn't a true $250. A lot of companies are also giving benefits like an HSA or an FSA, and so a lot of times you can see that clients have a lot of different ways of paying for therapy. With an HSA or an FSA, they're often spending pre-tax money, so they might be saving 30% on the dollar when they're paying for therapy. There's a lot of ways to do this, but the best advice I can give on this is it's not our job as therapists and as business owners to manage our clients' wallets. Do I need to say that again? It's not our job to manage our clients' wallets. At the end of the day, you are running a business. All right, number 2, the other benefit I love is that you have full control of your finances in your business, and therefore you really have full control of your business. Because you get to set your fees and decide what an hour of therapy is worth with you, you have maximum income potential. You have taken a glass ceiling that is there with insurance and you've completely blown through it. You've completely removed that glass ceiling, right? So your limitations are only self-imposed. It's just whatever you are comfortable charging. Again, I personally, just in full transparency, I'm now building my 3rd private pay practice. This is a practice that I prefer to build. It gives me full control of things. I can actually help lots of different people. Again, I just like to know that I can actually control and manage what kind of money comes into the practice and our income potential as therapists. Number 3, I like to have the ability to protect client information, right? Or at least to give clients the opportunity to protect that information. And to be honest, a lot of clients will come in and say, actually, I prefer to just pay you directly because I don't want this on my health records, right? Or even a few years ago, I had someone who was applying for a bar exam and then their medical records were requested. So I just think when you're paying private pay like that, it gives you, the client, at least some more ownership of their information. All right, so finally, which one is best for you, insurance or cash pay? It all comes down to you, your mission, your vision, your values. So take time to figure out these things for you and your business. Where's your business heading? What's the big mission of your business? What do you believe about how you're going to accomplish that mission? How much money do you need? You might make some of these decisions based on your actual income goals for you and your family. Try to make these decisions based on fact and not emotion. Choose wisely and choose in a way, first and foremost, protects you and ensures that you're going to be in this business for the long haul, that you have a long, healthy, sustaining business, that you have a weekly schedule that's sustainable and healthy for you, where you're seeing 15 clients a week, and that could be full time if you have the right fees, versus 30 clients a week because you're only making $87 a session or something like that. So sit down, do the math. I got lots of videos on this channel about how to set your fees based on your income goals, how to break through that 6-figure mark or that multiple 6-figure mark. There's a lot to learn here, but I promise you that whatever you choose, you can make your business work for you. Be intentional about these decisions, take your time making these decisions, and then make them and don't look back. Speaking of looking back, I will say it's always easier to start cash pay and then add insurance later versus starting with insurance and then wanting to get off insurance later. Again, getting on an insurance panel is not a substitute for good marketing. So again, if you want to try it, I would say just try cash pay, and if it doesn't work out after like a solid year of trying, then you might consider getting on at least the top paying panel. Otherwise, build the business you want, build the business of your dreams, and just go for it. Again, my name is John Clark, licensed therapist and business coach from privatepracticeworkshop.com. What do you think of this video? Let me know in the comments below. What kind of practice do you have? Maybe you have a hybrid between these two. How's that working out for you? Where are you getting stuck? What do you wish you had known? Let me know all that in the comments below. Thanks again for being here. I'll see you soon. Cheers.